Hello, this is saxophonist Antonio Parker, and this is a conversation in jazz, where we are promoting jazz through telling the stories. Today, we are presenting part 2 of our interview with jazz trumpeter, composer, arranger, educator, and leader of the Thad Wilson Jazz Orchestra, Mr. Thad Wilson. We ask you to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon so we can let you know when we are posting another video or going live. We also ask you to donate to our Cash App in order to support the channel and help us to produce future videos. Our Cash App is $Jazzology 101. That's $Jazzology 101. Enjoy the video. All right, we're back. This is a conversation in jazz, and we're talking to Mr. Thad Wilson. Brother Thad.
Yes, sir.
Man, compelling story.
I hope.
Anyway, man, you in our first segment, you talked about that you lived in New York, you lived in Atlanta.
Right.
Which one did you live in first?
When I left college, I moved to Atlanta.
Okay, why'd you go to Atlanta?
I don't know how quickly I can answer that one. The short version of it was I was having trouble finding my way. And now that I look back on it, it was probably me. I would attribute that to, I probably was still grieving because my mother had passed away when I was 15. Okay. So I'm now 19, 20, somewhere around 21, somewhere around there. And that process was, kind of shaking me. So my siblings were down there. I felt more comfortable down there. I felt like I needed to kind of get away because New York was handling me, man. Know.
So you were already in New York before you, then you moved to Atlanta.
Then I moved to Atlanta. Yeah.
What was that experience? What was this music scene like in Atlanta?
Different. Not bad. Different. I mean, you go there now and it's heavy, they got all kind of, Russell Gunn is killing it down there.
Cabby
and a bunch
Williams.
Cabby, all it's, I think a lot of the cast from New Orleans. But when I was there, they were kind of coming out of the throes of the smooth jazz.
Smooth jazz?
Yeah, it was a lot of like
Babyface was down there.
They weren't. They were doing more of they were in the studio. Like you didn't see them out doing shows. At least I didn't.
Okay.
So the cats that I were like around in that time was a lady by the name of Liz Spraggins, who was she was kind of a big name around Atlanta at that time. And then Johnny O'Neill moved to town.
Okay.
And that changed everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you meet Zach? Zach Grady?
That's how I met Zach.
Okay.
That's where I met Zach. So when I got there, I was working for a hotel company, and I was at the tail end of my corporate whatever life. So that was 91, 92. So by 94, I was pretty much full-time with music again.
Wow.
93, 94, I was full-time with music again. Because Johnny had moved there in like 91, 92.
Gotcha.
And so he had a regular house gig at this club called Just Jazz, and it was straight ahead.
Wow!
I saw Freddie Hubbard there. They would have, but that trio was there. Taurus Mateen was in that band, and my buddy Kermit Walker, Ramon Poozer. See, Johnny was literally like everything in that town for a minute. With what. So when I got there, after a couple of years, that was happening, and so I was,
So did you move to D.C. from Atlanta?
Yep.
And what brought you to D.C.? Why did you decide to come to D.C.?
The girl I was with. I met her, you remember Deb, I had met her in Atlanta. She was a travel nurse, and we just kind of hit it off like fireworks. And, we would sit around, pillow talk and stuff, talking about, what's next, and I was like, I really do want to get back up to New York. And so because she was a travel nurse, they didn't have anything for her in New York. The closest we could get was D.C.
Oh, wow.
So, Yeah, she was. Conversations we were having was, I want to write. I wanted to this and the other. And mind you, when I lived in Atlanta, right before I left Atlanta, and moved to D.C., I had started. That was the first incarnation of the Thad Wilson Jazz Orchestra.
We're gonna talk about that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, that band was starting to germinate, right? Or that idea was starting to germinate. And I don't know if we should get into it now, but
No. So you came to D.C. in 1990.
97.
Yeah. I remember when you came, man, because you would come around to the HR 50.
Blowing the roof off,
Yeah,
definitely.
but you had you would come to the jam sessions at HR 57. One thing I remember, yeah, you were blowing like you were blowing out the walls of Jericho.
Yes,
I
sir.
mean yourself.
Huge.
Yeah. And you had this energy like y'all might not know who I am,
but you're gonna
y'all
know by
fit
the
it
time.
up.
You're gonna know when I leave. Right.
And you had that energy with you, and I like confidence.
Right.
I love people with confidence.
Well, this is coming off the heels of, now I'm a professional. I've been at it. I'm still running into Roy and
Yeah.
never kind of ran into Nick Payton, but Roy was still kind of there. Marcus Printup, because Marcus is from the Georgia area, so I was running into cats like that, and I just remembered their attitudes and the way they would present themselves. It's like, okay, if you're gonna be in this fraternity, bro,
Yeah.
you better play with
You
some.
came in haymakers.
But I need to mention one other person who, Johnny had a guy in his band, trumpet player by the name of Eddie Davis. Oh my God. I was chasing him.
Trumpet.
Oh yes. And he's a kind of a unsung, a lot of, Winton and all of them knew him, but he wasn't a household name. But he had played with the Crusaders, but Eddie is the reason why I had my attitude.
Wow.
Because Eddie would just, he was killing it. He was killing it. I mean, you just got to hear him.
Yeah. So did you have that attitude, like, I'm going to show these DC cats, where is that? Like, did you come in with that?
No, because I grew up, I wasn't raised like that.
Okay.
But I was raised to express myself the way I express myself.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So, socially, we're gonna be cool this time. When we hit the bandstand though,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna tell you how I feel. You know what I mean? Like, I'm concerned with letting you know.
But you came to a town with a lot of players too.
Yeah.
And so
I didn't even think or know. Like I said, it was the reason why I'm still here is because it's literally been the greatest pleasant surprise that ever happened in my life.
Wow.
I did not know what I was running into. I didn't know.
That's good you say that, man, because this is a beautiful town.
It's a great town, man.
And it's not too far from New York, Philly, not Atlanta, and you can.
And you got cats here that can play.
Yeah,
You really do. I mean, New York it's always been a numbers game. Like, if I go to New York and I'm looking for a tenor player, well, there's probably 40, 50 tenor players that are all shedding hard.
Yeah.
There may be 10 here that I like. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just numbers. It's not that the others can't play.
Yeah.
It's that the certain level that I'm aspiring to and the cat that I want in that band, I got a whole lot more to choose from up there
Gotcha.
than I do down here. And it's just numbers. It's not talent. It's just numbers,
Gotcha. So soon after, sometime you begin. Let's talk about the Thad Wilson Jazz Orchestra.
Okay.
What was the impetus for developing?
So, like I said,
Jazz orchestra.
I was really starting to get my pen moving down in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I was writing down there, and me and Zach were doing a lot of quintet stuff. Good quintet we had, but I kind of felt like I wanted to write for a larger ensemble, and I was teaching, privately down there too. Man, I think I had like 30 students at one point. Yeah, and it was like a kind of rush, and then I had a couple other little. I had a cordless trio thing I was doing on Wednesday nights. I was working, right?
Yeah.
And so when I started writing, I just started asking cats around, hey, what about this big band, this and another? And at that time, Tia Fuller was in that band.
This is in Atlanta.
In Atlanta. Andre Hayward was in that band. A young Joe Granston was in that band. Like, all the cats that are
So Andre Hayward.
Andre Hayward was initially in my.
Atlanta?
Yeah, he was in Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
He didn't stay long, but he was in Atlanta.
Okay, I know.
Because his cousin, his cousin's the drummer. I can't even remember his name. Played with Diane Reeves and all the
Not Lil Jon.
No. It'll come to me in a second. I don't know why I can't remember his name. Oh, forgive me, bro. But he's well known. They called him Tank, I think.
Okay.
But that was his cousin. He was Andre's older. Andre was his younger cousin.
Okay.
And so there was that's what I was saying. There was a sort of a little gathering of cats that was starting to move into Atlanta at that time. And
Was Russell Gunn there when you were there?
no. Russell was in New York. Actually, I think he wasn't there when I was there. And there was a cat by the name of Eric Vaughan, who was a pretty enterprising musician, brilliant musician. He lives in Berlin now.
Okay.
And Eric had linked up with Savoy Jazz, and that's when that's my first recording. That's the recording I brought up here and played at UDC when they had the station.
Oh wow!
Trying to promote myself.
Yeah.
I had that recording.
Wow.
Yeah, and so when I got here, I was just wasn't trying to do no big band, and I was at the One Step, Sunday Lawrence Wheatley's jam session workshop, and I think Jay Jefferson was there. We were just sitting at the bar, and Jay said, "Thad, man, you get a lot of respect if you started a big band."
Really?
So it was really Jay Jefferson.
Jay Jefferson.
It was Jay Jefferson.
You hear that, Jay?
It was Jay Jefferson's. He wasn't trying to talk me into it. He just said it, like it was like something happening. And I always try to pay attention to what's happening in the community and where there's a need.
And one of the beautiful things about and I remember when you were starting it, because I was in the first.
Yeah, I quit a couple of times with y'all.
Well, no, but that's part of the
process.
Yeah.
Right, that's right.
But you brought you created like a musical fraternity amongst the musicians.
Oh, it was beautiful.
And
It was beautiful.
And you brought us together because there were cats in this town, man, that were playing.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you brought us like all together.
Writers.
And you gave us opportunity to write.
Right,
And
all
you
of
were
that.
writing wonderful stuff.
Yeah.
And we were like I was saying, let me try to write something.
Right, yeah.
And you were
All that
gracious-
stuff was nice, man.
And you were gracious enough to
Transfiguration.
Yeah. And you recorded that.
Yeah.
And man, so I was honored. It's an honor for me, man, because I wasn't really writing no big band stuff, but
Right.
But man, hey, why not?
But here's where the dilemma I think in this town is that's supposed to be an incubator for the cats, right? But when you're short on numbers, like I'm saying in New York, I mean, there's so many rehearsal bands in New York, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But when you're short on numbers, the spirit of that sort of enterprise, of that undertaking, the spirit of it can kind of wane because you don't have enough cats that are working professionals that have enough time to dial. You've got another life, you got other gigs, right? And so I needed to have like a sub list, but then that's when the quality.
But you know what? In any undertaking, you have this initial vision. It's never gonna go like how you always think it goes.
True. I had no idea.
But man, to your credit, man, that's why I call you a jazz warrior. Man, you kept that thing together for over 20 years.
Yeah.
We
got that recording that I did that I haven't released yet. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, man. And it's like, just you dealing with all these different personalities, So, man, just kudos because you really.
But I can't. I want to say this the right way. I like to consider myself a part of a larger ideal because. Duke Ellington, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but you Thad Wilson.
I got it. I get it.
I get it. And me talk to you. You probably were trying to bring that New York thing.
I was.
Yeah.
Billy Vanguard Monday night. Absolutely.
Yeah. But it turned into Thad Wilson.
Right.
Washington D.C.
Right.
And man, what's some memorable time? Remember the One Step, man? We do that every Monday.
Every Monday.
And Andrew White would come and check, man. So we had some
Grady Tate.
Yeah.
You name it, yeah.
And man, so,
John Lewis came through one time. Man, it was some. I was like,
yeah, man. And you've played. Where's some of the places that the orchestra has played?
Well, we've done Blues Alley,
Uh-huh.
right? We did all the Taste of DC back in the day. We did
Bohemian
Caverns. I had that group
Kennedy
there.
Center.
Yep, Kennedy Center. Mainly around here. We did. I was trying to get that band out of town, but
yeah,
the bread.
But man, it's a part of DC history. It's a part, that's why we got to celebrate.
Sure.
These things we take it for granted.
Right.
We take every day we play and do a gig, we take it for granted.
Yeah.
But man, we're making history.
Yeah.
And you were making history. We don't know, in hindsight, how what it was, because things always change.
Right.
So we can reflect on it now and say, man, we had our
made
had
some
our
history.
bumped heads.
Right.
All of the above. But that's part
Too
of
many
the,
scotches one night.
that's part of the music.
Right.
You know,
right,
it's part
right.
of the, you know.
It is.
part
And
of
it's a
the music.
beautiful part of it too,
Yeah.
man. You know.
And we remain friends.
Right.
And man, it's a beautiful thing, man. And it's like steel sharp and steel, or iron sharp.
That's
iron.
right. That's right.
Cats come in and oh yeah.
What's up? Right. Yeah. Oh, I mean, when you first got, because remember, I think Bill Davis was the first lead alto player, and then you came in. So it was funny how it started to evolve too, because when you came in, that changed the whole band.
Wow.
Because now I can check that off. That's what I thought when you joined the band. I was like, I could check that off the list now. I have a bona fide lead alto player. I got a bona fide lead trombone player.
Yeah.
A bona fide lead trumpet player.
Yeah.
I got a bona fide rhythm section, because that rhythm section kind of carried us for a long time, just because it was so solid, you know, because the reading wasn't always solid in every section, you know.
And you, and it's funny because I ain't gonna say I'm gonna call you a schizophrenic band leader.
I am.
But what I like about you is that, okay, we'll do arrangements. You'll bring in your big band arrangement. You'll do these, and then you'll do some out shit.
Yeah.
Excuse my language.
I have the tendency to pull that out.
But and then you start doing that. But it was that brought a whole nother kind of,
Because I pay attention, man. I try to pay attention to the masters and the cats who literally have. That's Butch Morris. For me, that's my. When I was living in New York, this is when they still had Condons and David Murray had his band there, and Butch Morris over
some of the avant-garde, yeah.
Right, and so I would catch that. Dharma's was a spot. There was a few spots in New York that I would hit, not regularly because my buddies, they were still pure and straight ahead cats. They didn't want to, but I was like trying to check out music, and so Butch Morris, his whole conduction thing it knocked me out, man. Wow. And so I was like,
you integrated it well.
I gotta try,
you would go, and we played.
Cause think about it, doesn't it pull something from you different? Yeah. And it actually works.
But another thing, and it got to be frustrating being a leader, because you dealing with, you're very passionate about music.
What frustrates me is not having a greater handle on the business aspect of it. If I could just be a band leader, I'd be happy. But it's when you put those other, I needed management. I needed management. You know what I mean? I needed a whole nother team of people to kind of lighten my burden so that I could just do us. You know what I mean?
Maybe through this interview you'll find.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna shop this.
We're going to move on, man. I just want to talk about some of the groups. We did a thing called Inner Urge.
Right, yeah.
What was Inner Urge? It was...
So Inner Urge, for me, was, how can I say it? It was a beautiful camaraderie of cats, because you remember, I think that started when I was curating, because that ties in with my curating arm. Remember, I was curating at the Sculpture Garden, and I brought Inner Urge. I think that was our first. I think.
Yeah. And then we did something in Atlanta.
Right. Exactly. We did at Churchill. That was that was a trip. Yeah.
Drove down in the bus.
Right. Right. But that was fun because how can I say this? It connected me to how we understand this music. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you think about a Ben Riley or, like certain cats, like, okay, boom, there's this group that, Sam Jones and Wynton Kelly and Roy Brooks was in. And then, boom, you go over here and they backed up, like these musical situations that just kept enriching us, man. You know what I mean? Like, I just like the idea that this is an enriching experience. I think I'm growing. You know what I mean?
Most
like
definitely.
this. Another.
You had a group called Kindred Soul.
Kindred Soul. That's my electric group.
Okay.
And that was. I mean, I'm kind of still there aesthetically, to be honest with you, with that group. I haven't finished.
Okay.
I feel like that's the most relevant concept that I can speak to right now. I mean, the big band thing is a labor of love, so that's
What does Cato say?
kakose.
Kako?
Kakose.
Kako say?
That's a friend of mine who's Serbian. Is he Serbian or Croatian? It's like a slang term for like what's up.
Okay.
So me and a guitar player named Srđan Kolatović, remember him?
Yeah.
Srđan, we had a really nice chemistry, and me and him used to play at the National Gallery of Art upstairs, like in the cafe. We had
wow.
And we did duo.
Oh, okay.
And so we actually did the Kennedy Center. We played the Kennedy Center, and so we were trying to come up with a name. And I said, well, let's call it something from your culture, you know. So that's where we got kakose from. It's like kakose, you know. It's like what's up, you know. Yeah.
Wow. Now I played with the Blackbirds, and I know you play. You currently play with the Black. You're traveling. What is it like? What has your experience been like playing with the Blackbirds?
It's almost as if I never got a chance to play with Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers. This is the next best thing.
Yeah, I always say Keith Kilgore was my Art Blakey.
He really does function like that.
Yeah,
he's a solid musician.
Good cat.
Organic, good cat. Great leader.
Yeah.
Always teaching in the right way.
Yeah.
Always supporting in the right way. You know, like it's just. I mean, for me, it's really the first experience that I truly feel like this is one of the most rewarding professional experiences I've had in my life. You know, like my stuff I do, I do, but that's a rewarding, like just the stories and just the rehearsals and the hang and the flight there, the flight and the gig, right.
You performed in different parts of the world.
Yeah.
Name some of the places parts of the world
Puebla, Mexico, Monterrey, Mexico City. Just did Cocktail with Sharon Clark in Crimea. Did St. Petersburg and Moscow, Paris, Milan.
Man, this cat, man, look at you. What?
But that's small stuff. I mean,
no, it ain't, bro. You know, some people don't go off the block. And you talking about I've been to all this stuff.
Right.
It's a beauty. People, we need to travel.
And I can't emphasize that enough. What you just said.
Yeah.
You're not gonna really, it's kind of I'm kind of quoting some cliche stuff, but it's like what Max Roach was saying. How when you go somewhere, you should be taking in the culture because it's all going to impact your music.
Yeah, it's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
You have some, and we're rushing through this, but
no worries.
You have some recordings that you've done.
Right.
What's some of the recordings that you've done?
So the big band, that first one we did was a work in progress. I did another one called Moving On with the big band that has not been released actually.
Okay.
And then Kindred Soul, my first one. My first recording was called Savoy Jazz. What was the name of that one though? It's like a sampler. Naked Jazz. Naked Jazz. I recorded with Mark Underwood. Introducing Mark Underwood, who's the Mexican pianist that I work with. There's a few others, man, but
You got a joint called Necessity is a Mother?
That's Kindred Soul.
Okay.
That's Kindred Soul. That's the
Necessity is a Mother what?
Necessity is a mother.
A mother what?
I didn't do it that time. He did it on his own.
All right, man, we got some final questions. You know I got to mess with you.
Yes, sir.
What is it like being a father? You have
It is
a husband.
It's the most challenging and at the same time rewarding experience I've ever. It goes way beyond the music.
Yes. So your wife, Tracy.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's very supportive. Y'all work together.
Man. It's marriage. It's like we talk about it a lot. The love thing is beautiful. It's cool, but you sign up for the work. It's work. And it doesn't let up.
You got a young son. We were talking about Malachi.
Right, Malachi.
And your daughter,
and Simone. Now, Simone has perfect pitch.
Simone has perfect pitch? Wow.
So we're trying to figure out if she wants to go to Duke Ellington or she doesn't want to pursue that. Because I think Malachi's more scientific. He's got a more scientific mind. So I think he'll be more like.
Is Simone into music?
Oh, she can sing, man. That
Wow.
girl has got a. But I don't know if I want to be responsible for my child trying to live out a legacy that I create for her like that. I came to the music on my own. I'd like for my child to come to music on their own.
Yeah, gotcha.
And if they don't, life goes on. I mean, I don't have no ambitions to make my child,
Yeah,
Like I want them to find it, you know. And if they do, boom.
Gotcha. Not that.
I mean, heaven's opened up and I can support with the knowledge that I have now. But I'm not gonna. Nope, you need to. Yeah, but that's,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
she's in the choir and she's voice lessons, and we got, you know, I'm still getting the basics. You know, they know what a staff is and the treble clef and all of that. But the real rigorous stuff, I haven't.
Yeah,
And
for
'cause
sure.
I'm, like I said, I'm not an early childhood education teacher.
I understand.
I'd have tortured my children. So I decided not to do that. Yeah.
Now, how have you been holding up during this pandemic?
I have been woodworking.
Woodworking.
Yes, that's my second passion.
Really?
So if I wasn't a musician,
Like building a deck and
yeah,
stuff like that?
well, I've just little stuff. I'm working on a dining table now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. So I've done some.
And I know you were into wine. You drink wine?
Yeah.
What is it about wine that you like? We ain't gonna just
Here's briefly what I've discovered with wine nowadays. I realized that, you know, some of the ancient cultures or some of the older or the more mature cultures, they found wine and the way they've kind of brought wine into their cultural sensitivity, it's not just a beverage.
Okay. So I'm looking for a beverage.
Yeah, and that's the problem with a lot
Yeah,
of folks is I don't look at it
But
as
you're a
beverage.
connoisseur?
I'm an enthusiast.
Okay.
A connoisseur has the money to pay for it.
Okay. Okay.
I'm an enthusiast.
You're
I
enthusiast.
love good wines. I love checking them out,
Yeah.
this and the other. Some of them I can't really afford, you know, like there's some
That's
bottles,
heavy, man.
you know. But I
You
I
love
know
wine.
but I know what I'm tasting.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's heavy.
I know
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah,
tasting,
yeah.
and I
Okay, we have a couple of more questions.
Okay.
Okay, what's in the near future for Thad Wilson?
Near future for me is I've been doing a little bit more commercial work, so I'm doing a lot of jingle work and stuff like that. But I'm also getting back to my film score stuff.
I meant to say that too. You've been commissioned to do works for projects. What have you
Right.
written for?
Well, I did the opening when not Oscar Michaud, the artist that
Was it a film? Something in film?
well, no, he's an artist, and when he had the gallery opening when he opened at the National Gallery,
Okay.
they commissioned me to do something for the opening. Then I did a couple of film scores at the Portrait Gallery.
Wow.
I
Man,
thought you weren't on that.
I don't know. I don't remember.
No, Body and Soul, you weren't on it, yeah.
Man, I would love to walk in the movie theater, man, and hear one of my productive songs being played on the big
That
screen.
was Spain. I went to Barcelona.
You've had that experience?
Yeah, I did that in Barcelona with a silent movie though. That was an old.
How did that feel?
When they started throwing roses on the stage,
Wow.
I was like, wow, that was different.
Yeah.
And then that was beautiful. But then my son, all of a sudden I hear my son say, "I love you, Daddy," and that made it.
That is beautiful.
But
man.
it was, you know, with the right. How can I say this? I think for me, the goal is to just try to find myself in the right venues now. Like I want to, you know, like that Barcelona experience was beautiful. I mean, it was like 3,000 people.
Wow.
Big. It was.
You ever pinch yourself, brother?
I know. I want more. So I can't. Think of,
You said you want
I
more.
want a little more. Yeah. More money. You know.
I said, give to the needy. Stop being greedy.
Exactly. I need it, y'all. I need it. I need your help.
All right. So one more question.
Sure, yeah.
And how can people contact you and find out more about your music and what you're doing? You talk to the
Website is www.thadwilsonmusic.com. Thadwilsonmusic.com. You can. I mean, I'm on the web. You know,
Okay.
you can catch me
Facebook.
Facebook.
Yeah.
You know, I don't do Instagram or Snapchat or any of that. I do have an Instagram account, but I haven't used it in
Okay.
forever. So Facebook is still kind of the primary.
Gotcha.
You know, and please friend me if you'd like. You know, I think I still got room.
Yeah.
You know, for that. But,
Well, my brother, I want to thank you, man. This has been a great interview,
you,
man.
Tony.
Yeah, man.
Thank you,
Beautiful,
Antonio.
man.
Yeah,
And,
man.
and we've learned a lot about you. I'm sure there's much more to Thad Wilson than we could gather in this.
as
little-
with all of us, there's much more to do.
But
Yeah.
thank you, man. I really appreciate
Oh,
you.
my pleasure, man. It's
And,
an honor, man. And,
yes,
and keep
yes.
up, keep doing what you're doing because it's a beautiful thing.
Thank you, man.
Beautiful
Appreciate
thing,
it.
yeah.
All right, there you go. The wonderful Mr. Thad Wilson. We learned a wealth of information and knowledge and got inspired even from his story. So this is a conversation in jazz. and we'll see you on the next one.